Hello, guys, and welcome to Mad Stories. Our episode of the day is: Am I the a-hole for being unsympathetic to my parents who made me give birth to my baby from SA at 13 so they could raise them, and now that baby is old enough to be no contact after learning the truth? When I was 12, I was SA'd by a family friend. I told my parents, and they suspected I was pregnant, but refused to let me go to the doctor or get an abortion. They made me wait to do anything until I was far enough along that abortion was out of the question. I hate them for it to this day. They made me do it because they wanted more kids. They had me and my brother, but he died as a child, which left them with just me, and they saw the baby as a sign they were meant to raise another child. It was traumatizing. It made me feel so lost. I didn't want to keep the pregnancy, and I said this multiple times. By the time they took me to a doctor and everything was reported, I was too pregnant and I was forced to give birth at 13. The only thing that made me not end things was the fact I was given permission to live with grandma as soon as I was discharged from the hospital. I never held the baby or met them afterward. I was no contact with my parents and did not want to go anywhere they might be. The majority of my extended family wanted nothing to do with my parents after what they did, but a small number kept in contact. I have done extensive therapy and there are still things I will never get over, or things that to some will sound so broken and wrong, like the fact I never loved the babe I gave birth to at 13 and never wanted to know them, and that I still wish I could have been given an abortion and saved the added trauma of giving birth. But I moved on to live a happy life with my husband and kids. I'm in a good place. Then a few weeks ago, I was contacted by my parents after a relative gave them my contact info. They said they had told their kids the truth about me, them, the SA, and everything, and they had cut all ties with them. They were crying and said it was awful and how their kid had wanted to know about meeting me and why they weren't always told and stuff like that. Then why they made me give birth. My parents then said I needed to help them, and they were so worried about what would happen to the kid. My parents told me their hearts were broken. My response was, I don't care, followed by, I don't owe them anything and they can live with the mess they forced on everyone, but I'm not getting involved. They told me I was a monster and should have found some remaining love for them and some love for their kid. I ended the call and immediately blocked them. Then I called the family member who was angry at me for refusing to help. They said I could have been more sympathetic and should at least be willing to help because I'm where this all started and a person needs me. They also said it's been so many years and my parents don't deserve this held over their heads forever. So I blocked them and went no contact with them. But they are really trying to turn others in the family against me, which has not worked. But they are so outrageous that I was so awful to my parents and genuinely seem to have expected me to forgive them by now, something I will never do. This determination from the family member has made me wonder if I'm the a-hole in any way. So this is me asking, am I the a-hole? Well, I think they're upset because their view of a family is being challenged by the truth, and now they're trying to manipulate the OP into a false sense of obligation that she does not have. And I think it's crazy how some people expect a kid to carry the weight of their own parents' abuse, And OP setting some boundaries here isn't code, it's just survival. It's kind of wild how people try to center their parents' feeling after everything they've done. Like, they've caused so much damage and now they expect some comfort. Yeah, healing doesn't mean going back to the people who broke you, so OP is clearly not the a-hole. And now for our second story. Am I the a-hole for taunting my ex's widow after she lost her court case for visitation with my son? The father of my son left me for someone else when I was 6 months pregnant. Ex and this woman Mavis married when my son was 3 weeks old roughly. They demanded she come to his visit with our son and I refused. My reason? They said he needed to get to know his mom as well as his dad, and she was definitely his mom now. They were married and everything, and yeah, that's how they argued it. I never stopped him from seeing our son, but I didn't allow her anywhere near our home, and our son was 10 months old before ex could take him out for visitation. Then I could do nothing about her being there, but at least she wasn't calling herself my son's mom in my home. She did join my ex every time he dropped our son home with me, and she would try to start a fight because I wouldn't let her hold him to say goodbye once ex handed our son to me. She'd get mad I would refuse to let her spend time alone with our son too. X was awarded every other week visitation when our son was 18 months old. He lost that visitation when our son was 2 years old because his wife tried to take our son out of daycare without permission and the cops had to be called. He went back to visits at my house and she was not allowed near my house or my son. That softened after a few more months. She had to issue an apology and take some classes, and then every other weekend restarted. Then my ex died last year. My son was with me at the time, so there was no fight to get him back, or her trying to run with him or anything. And I think she'd have tried to keep my son if X died during his visitation weekends. Mavis then tried to sue me for shared custody as his other parent. That case was thrown out because she was not a legal parent and had no parental rights to my son. Instead, she tried to sue for visitation and unfortunately that went to court. It took a few months and we had 2 dates before the judge in order to get a ruling. She was denied visitation. It was decided she had not played a big enough role in my son's life and she wasn't his family anymore. I was relieved. Mavis was screaming about appeals as we left court. She tried to confront me a week after court and I was feeling so done with her shit and I taunted her and told her she would never be in my son's life again and go freak herself because she's all alone now and with the way she acts, it didn't surprise me. She started screaming after me, but I kept going. It was only afterwards I wondered if it wasn't fair because she did lose my ex and she might have felt some genuine care for my son. I don't know. I think she's just unhinged. But maybe I was still an a-hole. Am I the a-hole? Well, if she keeps contacting you, keep track of everything for a paper trail and you may need to get a restraining order against her. And hopefully the little guy is gonna be alright after all this. Losing a parent is really tough on a kid. And now for our last story of the day. Am I the a-hole for cutting ties with my younger Gen Z sister and completely blocking her from my daughter? My sister is very self-centered, narcissistic, and heavy on the victim mentality. Nothing is her fault ever, it's always someone else. If the spotlight isn't on her, if things aren't benefiting her, she doesn't get her way, she will do whatever to make sure it is. Peak example, I was pregnant in June, my water broke at 33 weeks, I texted my family, I have 3 other siblings, 4 total, and 2 hours later my younger sister texts that she's in the ER because she felt like she was having a heart attack. Doctor's conclusion was that she's overweight and had too much caffeine that morning. Repeat similarly for everything. I have distanced her a lot over the past 3 or so years. Everyone knows my husband and I are very private. We hardly interact on social media. No photos are ever shared online, only a few pics via text messages to immediate family. My life feels like a reality TV show since these next events, and I'm ready for someone to pop out and go, "It's a prank," but that has yet to happen. Monday night, I was on Instagram. A follow suggestion came up from my younger sister's online handle, just slightly different. Think Katie, but then respelled for Katie type thing. And it was a very not common name, so it was very obviously my sister. I clicked the profile. She has photos of my daughter posted, with the captions like, "I'm so in love, you're my everything," and "Girl Mom, look at her new onesie." It's photos I've sent the family group chat, every single one. Even the ones of my husband and daughter with "I love you" captions, and our hospital birth family photo where she's cropped my face out. The profile had a couple hundred followers and not a single one was anyone I knew. I immediately told my husband, who called my dad as I was in the bathroom hurling my nerves into the toilet. Dad forced sister to take the whole profile down. My husband wants to press charges. I haven't been able to eat or hardly sleep, worried that there's more profiles. Worried that I was too comfortable and my daughter is going to get kidnapped. I know this is my anxiety here. Worried my sister is going to show up at my door and murder us. In my mania, I texted my sister and said I wanted nothing to do with her anymore. She would never have a relationship with my daughter, and she was never allowed at our home again. I've changed all the passwords to shared streaming services out of fear. Again, anxiety, I know this, and I've made an emergency appointment with my therapist. I have completely severed any and all ties. Now, my dad is asking me to reconsider to maintain order in the family. Keep things amicable. Only see her on holidays, keep out of her chats, don't interact unless we have to. That she was just going through something and I was overreacting because the profile was deleted. She learned her lesson and apologized. Not to me, to Dad, because I blocked her. Am I the a-hole for still wanting a complete burnt bridge? Am I the a-hole for thinking about filing charges? Well, that's it for today's stories. I hope you guys have liked them. Please comment, leave a like, and subscribe. And until the next story.